Well, hello. I'm Kim Fredrickson. I do a patient blog at pulmonaryfibrosisnews.com. And the blog I'm doing today is about options for supplemental oxygen use at home. And I have learned through the School of Hard Knocks about different options, and I just really want to pass that on to you. So I hope this is really helpful. I'm just going to kind of walk around my house and show you the different things. And I hope it will be helpful for you. Okay, here we go. Okay, so these are my two big tanks of liquid oxygen. They actually are about 4 feet tall. When they're not filled, they weigh about 65 pounds. When they are filled, they weigh about 160 pounds. And so fortunately, my husband and I do not fill them. The oxygen company comes comes every Monday. And they roll them out. They are on a little roller. They roll them outside to their huge truck, fill them up, and roll them back in. And there's a couple things I want to show you up close about them. So you'll see that each of them has a bottle here, and that is condensation of water. So usually about day 5, which is about right now, I need to dump it out. I usually water my plants with it and then put it back. It lets out condensation into those bottles. Okay, the top of it is interesting because it has a dial here, and I'll show you by turning it on. It goes up to as high as 6 liters per minute, and you can have it down as low as actually 1/4 of a liter per minute. I'll put it back to 0 so I don't waste it. And it has a little indicator that you can find out how much is left. So I have quite a bit left for a few more days, and this one is the same. It's exactly the same. So I'm on 7.5 liters per minute, so because it's on 6, it doesn't really work out. So they have this really good setup here. I'll try to get closer. What they do is they put one tube to each tank, and they hook it to a Y, and then my long cord, I have a 25-foot cord, gets hooked up to that and then to my cannula. And so what I do is I put one of the tanks I put on 5, and the other tank I put on 2.5 to get 7.5 liters per minute. And then every day I switch it back and forth. So one day one tank's on 5 and 2.5, the other day it's 2.5 and 5, just so that they drain separately, evenly. So that's what my liquid oxygen is like, and I really like it. I have in my blog, of course, why I really like liquid oxygen better than either the cylinders or the concentrator. But it's really good to have both. I feel secure knowing that if there's a power outage, I have liquid, and if for some crazy reason the liquid starts malfunctioning, that I have the concentrator as a backup. So that's what I wanted to show you. I'm going to show you one more thing. Okay, so this is the connector between the 25-foot cord that I have hooked up to the liquid tank and my 7-foot cannula. And I buy these online. The oxygen company does not provide them, but they actually swivel. And so rather than just being one solid piece. And the reason that that's helpful is that I don't get as many, it all tied up in knots and all of these kinks and problems. Because as I move around, it's not perfect, but as I move around, it actually swivels. And so I don't get as much tangling of my cord. So those are the kind of things that I have for oxygen use. Well, this is my wonderful husband, Dave.
Hello.
And every day he fills up these portable strollers from my liquid oxygen. And so he's going to actually show us how he does it. All right.
Okay. So there's a special attachment that allows you to connect this. You have to line it up in a certain way. It's got to be exactly a 90-degree angle when you put on the stroller. If you're at an angle like this or an angle like this, it won't go on. So there is a little bit of effort to get it aligned, but after that it's pretty simple. If you hear that hissing, I don't know if you can hear it, it means that there's now a connection between the large tank and the small tank that's open. There's a valve at the top of the small tank that's opened with this key, and once I turn the key, you're going to hear a very loud hiss as the liquid oxygen starts to, which is under a lot of pressure in this big tank, starts to, because of the pressure, leak out into the small tank, which has now almost no pressure. So I'm going to turn the key. And you probably want to show them the... I turn it off just before it completely fills to the highest bar because that last bar creates a tremendous amount of cold and tends to freeze up the valves, and it's not worth the trouble. So it's now full, and again, if you look on the little screen, you'll see we're one bar below the top. Perhaps you'll see that.
Yeah, that's great. Well, thank you, Dave. I really appreciate it.
Now, it normally takes about 5 times longer than that. It probably takes about 2 to 3 minutes. This one was 3/4 full to start with.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
All right, so Dave's going to show now just how he'll attach this or strap this onto a little cart that I actually use for something else. And we put 2 bungee cords on it. And then that's what I push around. And when I go out, I actually have 2 others of these in the car, just as an emergency backup.
Already filled.
Already filled. And each one of these will last me about an hour and a half if all is perfect. And often all is not perfect. So it's nice to have extra ones if I need them. Okay, so I just want to show you when I'm going to go out. I've got the liquid oxygen bungee to the cart, and then I hang my purse off the top of it, and I have a little pouch here that I actually keep on there all the time, and in it I keep an extra set of car keys and an extra cannula and money, just in case I lock myself out of the car. So that's on there all the time. So then I just push this around, and that's how I get around. So here's the back of my car. If I'm going to be out for a while, I actually have these 2 other portables. Each one lasts me about an hour and a half. And like I mentioned earlier, sometimes they work out, sometimes one of them might freeze, and it's just really nice to have an extra one just in case. And what's right here is this is a small liquid oxygen tank. I think it's called an M20 that holds about, I'm trying to think, I'm on 8 liters a minute, but I think it holds about maybe 18 hours of use. So if we go on a trip, we have them fill it up. It's nice to be able to fill up the portables while I'm going to be away for a day or 2. And so I have that as well in the back of my car. So it's kind of a nice setup. I had to fight like a dog to get it, but it's been really nice and very beneficial to me. So I hope that was helpful. I hope just being able to see some different types of oxygen equipment that I have at home is helpful to you, and that you're able to see, okay, that's what that looks like, and that's what that sounds like, and I just hope that that's helpful to you. So I write a blog every week at pulmonaryfibrosisnews.com, and I write about practical things and ways to be kind and compassionate with yourself. And in fact, my blog is called Just Breathe, Compassionate Help for the PF Journey. So as a patient and a counselor, I kind of try to combine those two experiences to provide really real, honest, and practical help as we negotiate this incredibly difficult disease. So I'm hoping that my experiences will be helpful. I know they're not complete. I know I don't know everything that you know. And so I would love it if you left your comments below on the blog, so that we can just learn from each other. Because you know what, we're all doing the best we can, and we're in this together. So thank you for tuning in, and I just hope it's a help. And many, many, many blessings to you. Alrighty, goodbye.